Hey YouTube, Doug with D&E in the garage here. Today I am back with another knife torture test. Let me give you a little backstory. After carrying around that Leatherman Wave that I did a review on maybe a month ago, check the card if you want to see that review. After carrying that around for a while as my everyday carry, I got curious about some other multi-tool style knives. It's been a while since I carried a multi-tool. I enjoyed it. I liked having the pliers on me. Some of the other tools was interesting. Ultimately, when I got my Benchmade back, though, I did go back to the Benchmade because I like having a large, full-size, very sharp, very strong blade on me. But there were some other multi-tools on the market that I'm really intrigued by. One of them is the Gerber center drive. I want very much to do a review on that one. The problem is it's between $80 and $120 depending on where you go, which means I am not doing the Gerber center drive anytime soon because I don't need it. At some point I very much hope to acquire one, and at that time we will definitely do a review because that knife intrigues me. That multi-tool, it's wrong to call them knives, they're really multi-tools. So what are we going to review today? The Gerber Dime. I went the other direction. The cheapest multi-tool I could find with a reputable name. It's a lot tinier. I unboxed it today. I couldn't believe just how tiny it is. I should have brought the Wave in to give you an idea of comparison. Now this is obviously meant to be carried on a key ring. There's no belt hook or anything. It's got some really interesting features, and I kind of want to run through them. I will, disclaimer, I'm a little bit loyal to Gerber. My first multi-tool was a Gerber many years ago in the Boy Scouts, and I've always loved their product. Before I started carrying a Benchmade, I carried Gerbers exclusively. No, not exclusively, but I carried Gerbers often. So anyway, I will do my best to keep this an unbiased review. And as I did last time, I would like to run through all the tools that they are claiming are in this knife. They claim, I believe, 12 tools, depending on where you go. They either claim 12 tools or they claim 10 tools. On the Gerber site, they claim 12. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So let's dig into the 12th tool first of all. This is my least favorite thing that knife companies do. You know what they counted as a tool? You see that right there? That hanging thing? Lanyard ring. Are you kidding me, man? Just say there are 11 tools, all right? The lanyard ring is not a feature any more than the steering wheel in my Jeep is a feature, all right? You give somebody a way to carry the knife. If it's small, you give it a lanyard ring. If it's large, you give it a belt loop. Don't count that as a tool, all right? So one strike against you, Gerber. I don't play that. I don't like that. Number two, and I find it very interesting, the bottle opener, all right? Bottle opener, it's exposed all the time. It doesn't fold away. And it seems strong enough that it's not going to sustain damage and break off. I think that's an interesting feature, especially if you are carrying this on your keys. As I'm flirting with it, as small as it is, it's still a little big to add to my keys. I may keep it in a pocket or something. It would be nice to just have that exposed. I'm not a big drinker, but it's still always nice to have a bottle opener. That's one of the reasons I enjoy my Benchmade so much. With that thick spine, I always have a bottle opener. You just pop it right off. You can't do that with all knives. So, first tool, bottle opener. Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea. Let's get into the heart of any multi-tool, the pliers. Now these do not have the Gerber standard flip-out pliers, which I really enjoy. These are the butterfly pliers, but they are spring-loaded. And one thing that struck me when I opened this was how close the tolerance is. I don't know if you can see on the tip of those pliers. And that's pretty interesting. They give you many step downs from the main pliers to the needle nose to some zero tolerance pliers up front. I think that's interesting. Granted, these are small. You know, my test for the last one was to try to get onto, I think this is a 15 mil nut or bolt. And yeah, that's not really happening. Whereas with some normal pliers, it's pretty easy. But I mean, for the size, it's pretty interesting. I think for what I would need pliers this small for, these may be good. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be removing sway bar links with them, but I don't think that was ever a reasonable expectation given their size. So I'm going to give them A+ on the needle nose pliers. I think, granted, they're small, but for their size, I think they put a lot of thought into them. giving them the multiple steps. And that goes for the normal pliers as well. For jobs that are going to require pliers this small, I think these are going to be really useful. By the way, when I was struggling on this nut with these, they felt good in my hand. I didn't feel like I was about to break them. They are light, and obviously there's less material than there would be on a larger multi-tool, but they didn't feel chintzy in my hands. By the way, these were $14. They make cooler colors. I don't love the red and black. They make like a charcoal gray. That one was $34, so obviously I'm going to buy the $14 ones on Amazon. For $14, I'm already impressed. Let's move on. They've got a little wire cutter, much smaller than a regular one would be, but oof. Yeah. Let's see now. I'm having trouble where this, it's about 12 gauge wire, I think. It's kind of moving. It's not really cutting very well. That's disappointing. Again though, $14. Let's give them another shot. Wire cutters are a fail. Yeah, that's a fail all day. These aren't even good wire cutters, and they're popping it right off. So, granted, you know, they can't all be winners, but I think a lot of people use, I know a lot of electricians really love multi-tools, so that's a pretty big detractor. Also, they didn't include a wire stripper, though you don't need a wire stripper on something this small. So that's a fail. That's kind of a disappointing fail. Moving on, let's see. Let's close it back up again. Let's look at the knife. Now, obviously it's small because of the size of this blade, but they did something really interesting. The shape of this blade, I don't remember what this blade shape is called, but instead of giving it a normal point or a drop point to make it look conventional, they left it a little beefy. It doesn't look like your normal pen knife, and I think that is a really classy move. Let's see what we have. Granted, this is an envelope. Might not have been a fair test. Oh yeah, it's sharp enough. Well, it's sharp enough anyway. I'm not, you know, what are you really using a knife this small on a multi-tool for? What do you expect? I think that's an A+. They could have given it a blade this size, or no, excuse me, this shape, but you know, proportionate in size, and it would have been a lot weaker. For its size and its thickness, this is going to be a strong blade, and I respect that. On the other side here, what do we have? We have, this is something everybody's been talking about, and I've been really excited to try it out. This is supposed to be a package opener, all right? And not just like tape on like an Amazon package, but package like this, all right? These clamshells. Now this one's not conventional. It's actually stapled, not sealed, but you know the ones you get. All kinds of stuff in electronics. They're sealed all around here, and you have to cut at them for a while, and they're a real nightmare. This is supposed to be a miracle tool for this. I think the idea here is you puncture in and you slide down. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's really awesome. Let's see. Granted, I didn't really want to open these sway bar mounts, but still, that is that's excellent. Let's try that again. Now I'm going through 2 layers here. It punctures in, and it slides with relative ease. Certainly better than the old way, where you are, you know, fighting with scissors or a knife, almost cutting yourself, and it's blunt, so it's nice and safe. Again, you know, one of the jobs I had most recently before I started sitting behind a desk was in a warehouse. So I'm always really interested by their box opener ideas. I guess this would be the equivalent of that. I was really intrigued with the box opener they had on the Leatherman Wingman, and I'm really intrigued by this one because it feels strong considering the size and very effective. So that's an A+ right there. Another one that is a throwback. I haven't had a knife with this feature since Boy Scouts, when I had, you know, little your typical Boy Scout knife, Swiss Army knives, tweezers. All right. Obviously, you know, this is the tweezers that we have in our bathroom. You know, in our medicine chest. This does not compare with that. I don't know how useful these would or would not be. All right. The thing that comes to mind is pulling a splinter. All right. If you're out somewhere and you've got a splinter, these are pretty chintzy. They bend easily, but maybe it's nice to have. Maybe you've need to pick something up. It was a simple feature for them to add. Also, they fit in here pretty tightly. I don't think you would lose them so easily. It doesn't feel loose in there, which I know was a problem that the Swiss Army knives had. Sometimes they would fit loosely and you would just lose the tweezers, and they also had a toothpick. So tweezers, interesting addition. I don't know how useful it really is. I think it's kind of like the lanyard thing. It was a cheap thing to add, and now they get to bolster their number. As far as I'm concerned, there are 10 useful tools on here. I'm going to exclude the tweezers, even though it's interesting. They're cheap. I mean, what are they supposed to be? Obviously I didn't expect cosmetic grade tweezers, but all the tools are on the back, not just the blade and the bottle opener. All the tools are on the outside, so that's interesting. The only reason you would need to open this is to use the pliers. I actually like that, considering it is something that's meant to be carried on a keychain. Everything is accessible. Right here are your scissors, and like the pliers, they are spring-loaded. Let's see, this is going through full envelope. They have some give. I submit, if you were the kind of person who was bothered by unruly fingernails, these might be good for keeping them trimmed, or God knows what. They don't lock like the ones on the Leatherman do, but again, I don't mean to compare this to the Leatherman. This was $14. I think that's a $40 knife, and it's twice or three times the size. So I'm not comparing them. I like it. I think that's pretty good. Here is, I think this is meant to be a small screwdriver, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. I've got this guy set up right here. So I want to test some screwdriver things, and let's see. This is a small screw here. This hole was drilled so that this would fit, but just fit. So there is some resistance, and you know what? Because of the shape, it's working pretty well. So yeah, I mean that would be viable. I wouldn't want to build a house with it. Let's see. Kind of looks like it's already getting marred up a little bit there. I don't know if you can tell. I mean, what do you expect? Now here's one that really ticks me off. They're claiming a coarse and a fine file. All right, now, what am I doing with this file? You know what I mean? Like, I guess, like, as a nail file, and they put it right behind this bottle opener, so the only way to use the fine file is to open the whole thing up, and still, it's like your lanyard thing is in the way. I guess you could, like, file your nails. That's about it. I'm certainly not using it to, no, it hits the blade. This thing is totally useless. Again, they kind of just wasted everyone's time putting crosshatches there. What am I actually, let me find something I can, what am I actually, yeah, you can't get in there at all. It starts so low, so that's useless. This is completely useless. On the other side, the coarse file, whatever. I don't know what you're filing with this, but it allowed them to add another tool to it, so not super amused there. Let's close this up. There's supposed to be some more screwdrivers in here. Where are those? Let's see. Are they on the inside? I didn't actually mess with this. I took it right out of the box and I started this video. I wanted all of my reactions to be candid. I know there's more screwdrivers. Here we go. A big flat screwdriver. For that, we've got this guy. Now, I might have overestimated what the size of this was going to be, but still, it can get in there, and it's got ample room. My problem with the one on the large flathead on some other multi-tools is they make them too thick, and then they're not actually useful, so you just have this extra bit of stubby metal in there. Again, wouldn't want to build a house with it, but if I had to tighten up something quick, totally applicable. Now the one I really wanted to test, I can't even find. Let's see. Where is that? Alright, I guess that what they're calling a cross driver is this pointed, short, I thought it was a small flathead. I guess the idea is rather than take up the space to give you a full Phillips head, they give you this wedge-shaped one that could get into a standard Phillips head. So, okay. Alright, so I mean that kind of concludes what we're looking at here. We've covered the tools that are in it. Significantly less tools than you would find in a larger multi-tool, but for the size and price, really good. I'll tell you what I wish they did. I wish that they had not bothered with a few things. Don't bother putting files on this thing. They're useless anyway, and if anything, they've made this piece not as strong. They've compromised it by scoring it like that. Let's see. I think everything else is pretty useful. I think that it's a good use of space. I think that they added some really interesting touches like this package box opener. That's really cool. I like that all the tools are isolated on the outside of the unit and the only thing on the inside are pliers. I think the bottle opener is an interesting idea, and overall the construction for a $14 knife, I mean, I've gotten more expensive no-name brands that were far less substantial, you know, than this one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a way to carry this daily. I'm not in any way intending to replace my Benchmade, but maybe I'll try to keep this not on my keys. Maybe I'll just throw it in my pocket. Maybe I'll throw it in my jacket pocket to see for a while how it holds up. I got to say that Wingman held up really well. Carrying it and being used every day. I use my knife. I use whatever's in my pocket. I use it daily. If it's pliers, I'll use it. If it's a knife, I use it every single day for something. The point is, I would absolutely recommend this knife. I'm going to put a link to where I found it. I think they had about 8 colors, ranging in price from $14, which I paid for this one. And in fact, I didn't pay anything for this one because I had a Amazon gift certificate, up to I think $34, maybe $24. I don't know, in that range. At $24, I think it's still worth it. At $34, still worth it. It's a good knife. Like I said, I'm going to carry it, see how it holds up. At some point, maybe I'll try to do a reaction video. Love to hear what you guys think. What's your preference? You like Gerber or Leatherman? I feel like anybody who carries a multi-tool has a preference, and it probably goes between those two, because I don't know another brand that is really a major competitor, unless you want to count Swiss Army, but that's another level. We're talking about pliers wielding multi-tools. All right, guys, as always, if you found this video informative, if you found it entertaining, and of course I hope you did, please leave me a comment down below. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.